So let's go ahead and introduce this dude. He's an awesome, kind of a legend in the Portland area. He's been in a lot of bands up there, including the Halfways, the MONEYCHANGERS, the Withdraws, the Hot LZs, the Plane Crash. So let's introduce Mark Death to the Church of Rock. How is it going, my friend?
Hey, not too bad, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I hope I didn't interrupt any good plans or anything fun on a Sunday night.
No, not at all.
I was planning on playing something from the Plane Crash, and that's the band that you're currently working on an album with. I know you have something, I think, either coming out or being recorded in August, right?
Yeah, we're recording basically our set list, I think August 2nd and 3rd at the studio that my drummer's old band recorded at, and it sounded really good, so I'm stoked about it.
How would you compare this sound to, say, when I got the Hot LZ's album? That was my introduction to you, and I love that album. How would you compare the Plane Crash to that sound?
Real close, because I sing and play guitar, and I did it in the Hot LZ's too. But LZ's, our bass player John, he sang maybe a little less than half of the song, so I guess that's the biggest difference.
Okay, man. So as far as the audience listening right now, can you kind of give us a nutshell version of how you got into punk rock in the first place?
Yeah, I started playing guitar around 12, and so most 12-year-olds that get into playing guitar, I got into classic rock and stuff. And then about 15, I got into the Dead Kennedys, the Misfits, the Stooges, then the New York Dolls, and Johnny Thunders and stuff like that. And it's been like that ever since, pretty much.
Yeah, I noticed you have pretty damn good taste in punk rock. We got kind of connected over the Johnny Thunders thing, which, how can you not like Johnny Thunders and the Heartbreakers?
Yeah, I mean, I stand by the fact that in 1977, I think they were the best band on the planet. Just the live footage, before they, his addictions got the best of him.
Yeah, man, there's some interesting documentaries about Johnny Thunders. There's one in particular. Do you know the name of it?
I think it's called Looking for Johnny.
Yeah.
There's another one that has been cut and recut a dozen times called Johnny Thunders: The Last Rock and Roll Movie. And some of the cuts are better than others, but they're cool to watch. It's all on YouTube. Yeah,
for sure. Are you self-taught as a musician?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I just from playing along to Chuck Berry records when I was younger and stuff like that.
Interesting. Did you connect with say Poison Idea?
No, not really. I knew I know the bass player guy Charlie, who played on Feel the Darkness and wrote a fair amount of the material on that, and that guy's an incredible bass player. But I saw him a few times when I got to Portland. But I like the records and everything, but I was never a super fan.
Interesting. Where were you from originally before you came to Oregon?
Virginia. I lived in Richmond, and then I went to college in Norfolk for a couple years, and then I came to Portland in 2001. So I've been here forever.
Yeah, man, decades for sure. And all the bands that I mentioned, were those all bands based in Portland?
The Halfways were from Virginia. We started the week after my high school graduation and played for about 5 years.
Wow.
And yeah, we made 3 7-inches. We actually did a reunion show about 4 years ago when I went back to see my family, and that was super fun. It was probably the best time we ever played, honestly.
Wow, that was probably awesome.
Yeah, it was the only bummer was it was during a hurricane. So, yeah, so we had to drive through a hurricane to get to the show, and obviously the attendance was affected because most people don't want to drive through a hurricane.
Because even though it sounds good in song, no one really wants to rock you like a hurricane.
Yeah, right.
That's whack. What about like favorite spots in Portland for punk rockers to see music? Do you have any favorite places up there?
I like the Laylows, really good. No Fun, they're pretty good. Lots of places have closed down over the years. I mean, and like they've gone. Just through management changes and everything. So like something, one club was cool for 5 years, all of a sudden isn't, there used to be this really cool bar, O'Malley's that the Huddles used to play a lot. And unfortunately they ended up going out of business. They did make a strong drink though.
Nice. Yeah, I have noticed that about the clubs there because when I first came to Oregon, it was around 2010, and I played in Portland maybe 4 times, and 4 different clubs. The only one that's still there is Dante's.
Yeah. I mean, the Huddle Z's, I've played some pretty good shows there. We opened for the Reformed Dead Boys there when it was Cheetah Chrome and Johnny Blitz, so that was pretty awesome.
I was there, man. I saw that show.
Yeah, that was super, super fun. The Money Changers opened for Tommy Stinson from The Replacements. That was a great show. He was super cool. Like his guarantee was $1,000, so they're like, you can play, but we're not gonna pay you. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. It'll be a cool story. So I didn't have any money for beer, so I go down the downstairs area, Dante's, and there's a big sign on one of the doors. It says Tommy Stinson, do not enter. So of course I entered, and I put all these beers in my pocket, and as I'm walking out, I run right into him, and he's like, "Hey man, he was like, those are my beers," and I was like, "Yeah, man, I was like, I'm not making any money tonight. I'm broke," and he's like, "Take them, get out of here," So that was really cool.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
By the way, that Dead Boy show that you mentioned, that was a killer show, man.
That was really good. That I don't I guess Johnny Blitz isn't in it anymore. I guess there was some falling out with that, but I you know how that's.
Well, the only person that's left besides Cheetah is they've kept Jake Hout still on vocals, but Rick.
Yeah.
I don't know why they let go of Ricky Rat, but I'm sure it's something internal. But that was great seeing Ricky Rat from the infamous Trash Brats on bass.
Oh yeah. His new album's pretty decent too.
We played some tracks from it recently, man.
Yeah, it's that was I bet anything that it was just probably him just wanting to do it for a tour or something, and then going on to his his own solo stuff. Right.
What about you? As far as all the bands you've been in, what are your favorites?
Story-wise, probably the Money Changers, just because we were around for about 5 years, did 3 7-inches, and we partied pretty extensively, which ended up being the demise of the band. But I mean, I had a birthday party the other day, and all those guys from the last lineup came. So I mean, it's not like we're not friends or anything. But it's I really like the Huddle Z's album. It was supposed to originally come out on a German label, and the guy, I initially sent the guy 4 songs because we were just going to do a 7-inch. So I'm like, he messaged me immediately back and it's like, "Hey, you want to do an album?" And I'm like, "Definitely, absolutely." So we're sending him 4 songs at a time, and so I finally send him the mastered final copy. I get him, and like every time he's getting songs, he's like, "This is so great. This is so great." And I get an email from him on Christmas morning saying, or Christmas Eve morning, saying that he was no longer interested, and it was like had a really nasty tone to the email, and I'm like, what? You know, the only thing I could figure out is like maybe somebody was like, oh, you don't want to deal with Mark Death, you know, that guy's of whatever, you know. But I mean, because it was just so random. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's just my theory behind it, you know.
Well, you know,
who knows?
It's your interview, so I'm not going into my stories, but sometimes, man, dealing with record labels can be a nightmare.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, like, the Plane Crash has that song on that Blood Orange, Black and Blue comp that just came out. Like, I guess now it's been out about a year or something. But, yeah, I just randomly sent the guy Gus the 4-song demo we had, and he was like, want to be on the comp? I'm like, absolutely. Like, we had a different drummer and other guitar player at the time, and like our drummer was like didn't want to be on it. I'm like, dude, like I'll just get somebody else. But our new drummer Eric's fantastic. He's like, I've known him for a long time, and his style, I guess, is comparatively like Keith Moon meets Jerry Nolan.
Nice.
And our other guitar player, Rich, he's like, he likes a lot of, like, doesn't even really listen to punk music. I mean, he likes a lot of, like, the non-punk stuff I do. Like, if I can, I'll mention something, like, from a Bird song, and he'll know what I'm talking about, you know? So that's good. And our bass player, Harry's a real nice guy and a real good bass player, too. So.
And that's from the Plane Crash, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, next week on the show, we are going to play the song Prove Me Wrong by the Plane Crash, and then I'm going to do a tune also from the Hot LZ's vinyl.
Cool. Thanks, man. Yeah, and if anybody likes the Hot LZ's record, tell them to hit me up on any of my social media, because I have about 150 copies of it left.
Ooh, yeah, for you vinyl freaks. So you can find the Plane Crash on Bandcamp, and of course Mark is on Facebook. What name are you under on Facebook?
Mark Fox, and it just, and where you can put like a nickname in parentheses, it just says Mark Fox Death on it.
There you go. If anyone wants to connect with Mark via Facebook or one of those places, you can, or Bandcamp. We're going to roll on, and I'm sorry again about not playing the music tonight, but next week we will do 2 back-to-back, bro.
All right, right on. Well, thanks again for having me, man.
Yeah, it's good talking to you, man. Good luck recording in August, and I look forward to hearing the new album.
Okay, thanks, man.
Yep, cheers, Mark.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.